For Barastoc and Kentucky Equine, I'm catching up with Dr. Peter Huntington. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Paul.
And Dr. Kath McIntosh. Hello.
Hey on, Paul.
Very well. We're here at Oakland Junction for the yearling sales. This is going to go out a week after the yearling sales, but pretty important time, pretty busy time for yourself at Llowalong Farms, Kath.
Yeah, it is, but a pretty special time, bit of a grand final for the yearlings. We've carried them all the way through from, most of these we've bred, foaled down, weaned, and have been on the farm the entire time. So it is a grand final to finally get them to the sales and get them off to new homes.
Must be good for you, Pete. We've been down at Alabar just there before, and you're up here looking at the draft here of Llowalongs. One, take a lot of pride, I suppose, in the product that you've been able to help put out and work in conjunction with the two of them, and see these horses. You guys must get a little bit of a kick out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to see them do well at the sales, but then what we really want them to do is race well.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the second thing. But here, these horses I've seen some of them as foals. They've used our software to monitor growth and GrowTrack to monitor growth and check how they're doing and how they're progressing, and fed the mares during pregnancy. So the foundation starts with proper feeding during pregnancy in terms of a nutrition viewpoint, and the sales is the end point. Well, not the end point, but it's one of the end points.
It's the end point for our process, and that's what we use the Barastoc and Kentucky Equine products all the way through. So they're always on the breed and grow pallet, and we use the GrowTrack programming to so when they're born, their birth weights, and then track them all the way through. And it's a little bit of almost a quality assurance for our product that we're presenting at the yearling sales. These horses are bred to be athletes, and it's important that they have good steady growth for their bone structure, for their soft tissue, everything. And then that gives the trainers a little bit more confidence when they buy these horses that they continue working with them, and they're well grown out and they can handle the work, and they've had that really good background right from the broodmare pregnancy all the way through to to when they get broken in. So it's a really good foundation, and that's what we focus on a lot as a breeding agency, and we like to put out a really good quality product.
You're quite a unique business, I suppose, Kath, and I think that's where the association, both with Ridley, Barastoc and Kentucky Equine Research, it must be so integral for you, because you are a veterinary practice. You foal down mares and foals right through to you have the stallions. You are just race horses. To be able to call on people in their expertise, it must be so great for your business.
Oh, absolutely. And, it starts actually pre-conception with the stallions, and, the diets that we have the stallions on, the advice that Pete and his crew give us in terms of managing them. Obviously, we're shipping semen all around Australia and to New Zealand, so longevity of semen is really important. I mean, in New Zealand, some places, they're not getting the semen until 50 hours after we've collected it, let alone getting it in the mare and then into ovulation. So having those stallions in peak health, and that starts from quarantine. We're doing things and have supplements at quarantine, so that by the time they come out to us, they're ready to go, and we just continue on with their program. And then when they go back, back to the US and Canada, we ensure that they're on the same program there too.
Peter, you and I did a great talk about, it was at IRT, and about travelling horses and the likes. And we take a lot of it for granted. We see these stallions arrive, and Kath's recently announced Volstead just coming, King of the North's on his second season. He was only a young horse as well. Being able to, I suppose, liaise with the people back in America or wherever these horses are coming from, pretty integral part to make sure these young stallions, when they're coming out here, they're fit and ready to go, and they can maximise the farm's bookings, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important, I think, not to have too much change in the way horses are managed. Now, they've got to change in terms of flight and hemisphere change, but if they can be fed in a similar way, use a similar supplement program for those supplements that are important for fertility, like coenzyme Q10 and the omega-3 long-chain fatty acids. Those are useful, and because we're an international company, we have North American, business in North America as well, and so similar feeds, we can liaise with the farm about getting good feeding advice over there and similar feeds and a similar supplement program.
And that's really important for us because, ultimately we are providing a service to the breeder and we want good outcomes for them. We want mares in foal. It's really key to us that the stallions are in the best possible nutrition and health.
So one thing that always amazes me when they arrive, 9 times out they pick the grass, but they're looking for a feed when they arrive. And I know they've been into the quarantine, but it just seems like, this is our next paddock. It's not like they're in a whole different part of the world. It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh, well, none more so than, so when King of the North went back to Canada, I was only there, so it had been 40 degrees at home and he'd gone from, a paddock, and then back there it was minus 15. And I couldn't believe how cold it was. But he's running around the snow, having a buck and a kick and a wow of a time. And it's amazing. They are amazing creatures, how well they adjust.
It's a beautiful picture, Pete. It's about I'll say it's a 20 acre, it's at least 10 acre anyway, paddock. And all you can see is a black posted rail fence, and the rest is white, except for this horse running around in it. And it's got to be a great shock to their system. That, again, I said with Brett, that would be through research. You guys would be aware, like you'd be able to advise Kath and the people back in America of, they're coming from 40 degrees, they're going into the cold weather. That's the sort of things where the nutrition is very, very important, isn't it?
Yes, it's part of the thing that we can do, advice. Horses tolerate the cold really well, actually. It's remarkable. Heat and humidity is worse for them than cold. But, in those environments, they'll grow a bit slower. That's for sure. The young horses grow slower, so you've got to feed them more to get good growth. But luckily in Victoria, we've got some heat, but we don't get too much humidity. So that's a big help, and they're well looked after. Nice. Don't have a 20 acre paddock for them, but she got nice paddocks for them, good consistent management.
The raising of the young horses, and Kath was mentioned there before about grow track and tracking these horses, I suppose, development as you like all the way through. You've been doing it for a couple of years now. I'm going to say 3 years.
Yeah, I think 3 years. I think we've had two years of full data now. So, and it's interesting to compare from year to year and from mare to mare as well, and what they, the size of their foals that they have each year.
I would imagine, Pete, Kath finds it interesting from her individual horses. You would find getting that information as well from the business point of view, and when I say that, understanding what horses needs and things along those lines, you would be also analysing a lot of the data that Kath gets to see?
Yeah, well, it's contributing to population database growth, and we've been doing it with thoroughbreds for many years, and we've got about 55,000 thoroughbred foal growth records in many different countries. So you can imagine here we've got a pretty robust population curve. We don't have as many standardbred ones. It's good to get them contributing to that, and then we get a better handle on what normal growth is. But Kath's growing some really nice horses, and they're well grown. So what a trainer sees here, they'll be much closer to the finished article than on some other farms where they're not managed and fed properly, and it's along the way through. So.
And building that database, like you said there, that the standardbred database is not as big, but every year you're building more and more of a database. Through Kath and Alabar, you're doing it that way straight away. So that part's, it's only going to get bigger and better and much more professional.
Oh, it is. And standardbreds these days are much closer to thoroughbreds in terms of growth. They're not in terms of value, but nor in terms of cost of running them. So they're a much different breed to what they were 20 or 30 years ago.
It's proof is in the pudding a little bit as well. Last night, Kath, timing can be everything, but we were with Nutrient Classics for the 2-year-olds last night, and there was 2 poster boys that went through the sales, and if you were lucky enough, you could have spent $30,000 to buy both these colts. They're going around in a $250,000 race. Poster boy is not one of the high-profile stallions, Kath, but the whole process of what you're doing, obviously, when he's going out there and the progeny that he's producing, they're first class. They've proven it last night. Both horses are $100,000 horses after watching them last night. The way I'm not downplaying either of those horses, but that's got to be great fillet for the farm and what the farm's been able to put out there on the racetrack, which is ultimately what we're all about.
Yeah, that's right. And, Poster Boy now is becoming a high-profile horse because he's proving that he can match it with the big boys that are proven. And, three 2-year-old colts winning each of the heats for that final series is just phenomenal. So, it's the whole process that's so important. So, we're really proud of Poster Boy and what he's doing, and we look forward to seeing how his progeny go here at the sales. It'll certainly give them a bit of a boost and the buyers' confidence in what they can do.
Probably a question for you both. Do you get a kick out of seeing those horses? Highland Real, I can't think of the other horse's name.
Sagano. Yeah, and It's Confidential.
Well, It's Confidential a little bit different because he is a farm horse. Those other two horses aren't actually farm horses, but you've conceived them. Do you get just as big a... Well, I actually know the answer because I got a text message. But do you get just as big a kick out of seeing those horses win that technically you've collected the stallion and that's sort of the only process you've played, but you know that you're giving them the best quality of Poster Boy that you can?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's, I've been and seen those colts at the yearling sales, and now I see them on the track, and it's really rewarding, and I think it's great for all those who have invested in those horses as well. So yeah, it's a really rewarding process, and obviously with It's Confidential, he was bred and born on farm and sold at the yearling sales, and now it's a full cycle at the track. So it couldn't be any better.
Peter, do you enjoy that side of it as well when things are going right for Kath?
Oh, definitely. It's great to see your clients do really well, and horses you've had involvement with are our feed. So, just last week we feed Coolmore horses, and the $10 million yearling, and that was pretty satisfying. Don't know if we told our insurance company about that, but and they grossed $28 million at Easter, so that's phenomenal. So those sort of numbers are stratospheric and are different to here. But yeah, you want them to succeed at the sales, and ultimately what you want them is to succeed on the track. And that's where, Llowalong's a relatively young farm.
Yep.
And so it's fantastic validation of the method, what Kath's done in terms of, matings, in terms of management, in terms of veterinary care, all of those things that she's getting horses coming out and running and winning big races.
Yeah, and I think that's enormous. You touched then about Winnie, if you like, Winx's foal. You almost get so many compliments because everyone just said, oh, she's just beautifully presented, beautifully prepared. You must sit back and smile, have a little wry smile, I suppose, to yourself, even if it is in private, about those sorts of things, because you say, well, we fed her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's rewarding. And, I sort of made up the yearling prep mix and designed that, and they have to use it, and it's individual feeding with individual horses, but it's satisfying. Yeah, she and others in Coolmore were raised on our feed. The mares were fed on our feed, so as well. So that's very satisfying.
Kath, it's a relationship that's going to continue. Barastoc, Ridley, and Kentucky Equine.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been using the products for years now. We use it, various products in various ratios and forms all the way through our entire. Whether it's in a clinical hospital setting to on the stud farm. So, we see terrific results, and, we just have such a great relationship as well. And, they're always there when we need a hand or have a question. So, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't be happier with the feeds and the structure that we use and just how all that fits into our overall management program.
Pete, the best way to get in touch with KER?
KER would be, if you want to ring us, 1800 772 198. If you want to email, advice@ker.com. And again, I'll mention the knowledge base that's there on our website in Equinews, with all the people can sign up for the fortnightly electronic newsletter that's got a wealth of information each week, but searchable database with tens of thousands of terrific articles about health and nutrition and management, etc. of horses. So hopefully everyone can get healthier and happier horses.
And we then raise a better product as a harness racing product. I mean, I'm a horse lover, full stop. It doesn't worry me, but to be able to put a better product out there, the longevity of them on the racetrack, the longevity of them in the stallion barns, the brood mares, the foaling down, the whole process is really, really, what I think we're all about.
Yeah, I think we always say it's the 1%ers that matter, and you can have a management program and do different things different ways, but it's always the 1%ers and fine tuning things and having relationships with KER and Barastoc that we do. That all falls into the 1% category, and just keep raising the bar and improving the product that you present.
Absolutely. Barastoc have a great saying: the horse comes first. Same with Kentucky Equine, same at Llowalong Farms. Peter, thank you very much.
Attention to detail was very important.
It is indeed.
That's what Kath's saying.
Yes, she's very. Yeah, she keeps you honest. Don't you worry about that, Kath. Thank you. Hopefully you've had a great sale. As I said, this will go out afterwards. But anyone wants to get in touch with the farm, please do.
Yeah, anytime. Give us a call. Yeah.
No, thank you very much, and thanks for your time.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Pete.
Good, Paul. Okay.